Hi, welcome to Snakes and Adders. We're continuing the introducing series that we've been doing on the beginner species of snakes to be considered, and in this episode we're going to consider the Pituophis family, which is the bull, pine and gopher snakes. These are slightly larger in build than the other snakes that we've considered, but as long as they're handled regularly from babies, there's no reason why they're not completely tame. They have an ardent following of fans. They aren't for everybody, but you know, the people that do keep them will praise them to the hills. They absolutely adore them, and I fully understand why. One of my favourite snakes growing up that I had as a pet was a northern pine snake, and it was awesome. So they're bigger built than the snakes we've considered. Maybe a black rat snake, one of the North American rats, might get up there in length, but nowhere near in build. They're heavy set, very robust. They're a burrowing species. They've got heavily keeled scales, gives them quite a rough complexion. Generally their pattern is blotched. Their colours improve with age, and they can become incredibly pretty. They have an enlarged rostral scale, which is the nasal scale here at the front. So when you look at the snake, you can always see that bit just above the top lip, that scale is always slightly bigger. Well, on Pituophis, they have almost like a bishop's mitre shaped scale, which is enlarged, and that's because they're specialist burrowers and they use it for clearing out the debris. Northern pine snakes, for example, dig quite considerable burrows to lay their eggs in the New Jersey pine barrens. They're North American, as I've just alluded to. The biggest of the family is the bull snake. Bull snakes are quoted as reaching a length over 8 feet. Getting a bull snake to 8 feet in captivity, pretty much impossible. These days anyway. I mean, 6.5, maybe 7 feet you're going to do. They'll take small adult, medium or even medium adult rats as full grown animals. So they're at the upper end of what we would consider to be beginner species. The pine snakes are next in line. And you've got northern pine, southern pine and black pine, if you can find one. The black pine is like the golden goose of this group. Not very many people have got them at all, and they're incredibly sought after. And then the smallest of the group is the gopher snakes, which tend to be slightly more slender build and more around the 5 feet mark. And the gopher snakes are probably the most prevalent ones that you're going to find. You're either going to find San Diego or Sonoran gophers, and there's also albinos available of those, which are incredibly pretty. The morphs have been coming along, less so with the pines, but with the bull snakes, there's ivories, white-sideds, ghosts, snows, albinos. So yeah, you can really go to town with some of the morphs, and they are incredible. They are avid feeders. Most people use their bull or their pine snake as their dustbin. If they've got a big collection of snakes and some guys leave their mice, well, they just go in with the bull or the pine and they'll hoover them up. They have got fast metabolisms though, and this can quite make them reasonably messy species, so they're going to poo fairly regularly. So you're going to have to stay on top of your husbandry, make sure that you're fastidious in the way that you clean. Full clean out probably every 4 weeks. With the other groups that we've listed, I mean, sometimes that's every 6 weeks, but you know, with these, they're going to be producing a decent amount of wee and poo. You spot checking every day, but it just gets to the point where you've got to clean them out. Because of the enlarged rostral scale and the inquisitive nature of them, they don't particularly lend themselves to racking systems, and they'd be far better suited to being in a vivarium. Probably either a 4x18x18 or even a 4x2x2. So this is, like I said, at the upper end of what we're going to be dealing with as a beginner species. They're definitely worth looking into. And if you get a nice calm baby, they're one of the most rewarding snakes that you can keep. They are fabulous. I can't praise them enough. And like I say, I've had the bulls, pines and gophers throughout my sort of childhood career of keeping snakes, and I've always found them to be one of the most interesting. And the northern pines were one of the most trustworthy snakes I ever had in my life. You know, you could pass it anybody. I had no reaction at all. So we want a basking temperature of around 30 degrees, cool end of 24. At night, that's going to drop to 24. Certain species, such as the northern pine, are going to need to be hibernated to cycle them for breeding. Some of the more southern species not so much. Just a gentle brumation similar to a corn snake should be enough to induce their breeding cycle. They're egg layers. They lay very big eggs and relatively small clutches for their size, but the babies come out like monsters. They're 3 times, 4 times the body weight of a corn snake, and will take fuzzy mice straight off the bat without even blinking. So definitely worth looking up. As always, we encourage you to do your research. Make sure that you look into all the different species. You have other options. These videos now, we're getting into the groups that maybe people don't keep as much as they should or could, because the videos or guides online always point you towards royals, or always point you towards corns, and you have got other options, you know, and it's not necessarily that you're making a lesser choice, just a different choice. And there's nothing wrong with being left field in this hobby. We're all left field anyway, you know, because we're keeping reptiles. So yeah, have a bit of an adventure. Consider a Pituophis snake, and if you find a nice calm example, I promise you, you won't look back. Keep watching the videos. We'll keep producing them. I'm glad that you're enjoying them, and visit the website, which is www.snakesandadders.co.uk, to see what we're all about. All right, cheers.